The unexpected acquisition. The smell of scorched metal and industrial lubricant hung in the recycled air of Outpost Epsilon's monthly salvage auction. Kai Reeves wiped grease-stained hands on his already filthy jumpsuit and squinted at his dented datapad, the screen flickering as it struggled to display the auction manifest. This was his last chance. 3 months behind on docking fees, and the station administrator had made it clear: pay up or get ejected into the void with nothing but a standard-issue emergency suit. Lot 437, announced the board auctioneer, a Centaurian with 4 arms and the enthusiasm of a dead battery. Unidentified alien vessel, non-functional. Discovered adrift in the Cygnus expanse. No registration. Salvage rights secured. Bidding starts at 500 credits. Kai's eyes widened. 500 credits for an entire ship. Even for scrap, that was suspiciously cheap. He stretched up on his toes to see past the cluster of junk dealers and parts scavengers. In the dim lighting of the auction hangar, he could make out a strange, obsidian-like structure. It wasn't large, perhaps the size of a standard shuttle, but its design was unlike anything he'd encountered in his 15 years as a mechanic. The surface seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, with occasional ripples of iridescence passing across its hull like oil on water. No one raised a hand. The Centaurian sighed. 400 credits. Still nothing. Kai's heart raced. Something was off. A vessel this unique should have corporate vultures fighting over it. His instincts screamed caution, but desperation drowned them out. 300 credits. The auctioneer was growing impatient. Kai's hand shot up before he could reconsider. 300. The Centaurian blinked all 4 eyes in surprise. Sold to the human in the filthy jumpsuit. 20 minutes later, Kai stood alone in a small private hangar bay that he'd rented with the last of his emergency funds. The mysterious craft sat before him, and up close it was even stranger. No visible thrusters, no entry hatch, no external controls. Just smooth, slightly curved surfaces that seemed to shift subtly when viewed from different angles. What the hell did I just buy? Kai muttered, running a hand through his short, dark hair. He approached cautiously, scanner in hand. The readings made no sense. No power signature, yet the surface registered as warm. No detectable metals, yet it was clearly solid. No radiation, yet something was interfering with his equipment. Kai touched the surface gingerly. It felt warm and almost alive, like touching the hide of some sleeping beast. Here goes nothing, he said, reaching for his toolkit. He selected a diagnostic probe, the gentlest tool he owned, and pressed it against what appeared to be a seam in the surface. The reaction was instantaneous. The vessel shuddered. The ebony surface rippled violently. Kai stumbled backward, falling hard on his backside as the ship began to unfold. Not with the mechanical precision of transformation tech, but with the fluid motion of a living creature awakening. Plates shifted, surfaces extended, and what had appeared to be a compact vessel reorganized itself into a massive, wolf-like form. It stood nearly 3 meters tall at the shoulder, its body a perfect fusion of biological and technological elements. Armor plates covered a frame that moved with the grace of a predator. Its eyes opened, brilliant silver with hints of blue energy pulsing within, and focused directly on Kai. "You are not Valorian." The voice resonated directly in Kai's mind, bypassing his ears entirely. The mental intrusion felt like ice water flooding his brain. "Where is the commander?" Kai scrambled backward until his back hit the hangar wall. "I don't." "What? Who's Valorian?" The creature tilted its head, those unnerving eyes never blinking. "My bond partner, Commander Valorian of the Mirith Vanguard." The wolf took a step forward, metal claws scraping against the hangar floor. "You stink of fear and machine oil. What have you done with him?" "Nothing. I swear." Kai held up his hands. "I just bought you at a salvage auction. You were listed as a non-functional vessel." The wolf's armor plates bristled, and a low growl emerged that seemed to vibrate the very air. I am Tarek, royal guardian of House Mirith, and I belong to no one. Kai swallowed hard. Look, I don't want to own you. I thought I was buying the ship. If you want to leave, the hangar door is right there. He pointed, though he wondered if he'd just made the worst financial decision of his life. Instead of leaving, the wolf, Tarek, sat on his haunches, eyes still fixed on Kai. I cannot leave. I am bound to find Valorian or his successor. A pause. The auction. Explain this. Gradually, Kai's terror subsided enough for him to stand on shaky legs. He explained salvage laws, how derelict vessels were claimed and sold, how he'd been desperate enough to bid on something no one else wanted. How long? Tarek interrupted. How long what? Since I was found. How long have I been in stasis? Kai checked the auction data. According to this, you were recovered 8 standard months ago. No idea how long you were drifting before that. The wolf's posture changed subtly, something like grief passing through its mechanical frame. Then it has been at least 3 cycles since the betrayal. Valorian is likely dead. Betrayal. Kai ventured. Tarek's eyes flashed brighter. We were ambushed. Our fleet was crippled from within. I sustained critical damage protecting Valorian as he escaped in a life pod. My core systems initiated emergency stasis. The wolf looked away. I failed him. Against his better judgment, Kai felt a pang of sympathy. You couldn't have known what would happen after you lost consciousness. An alarm suddenly blared from Kai's datapad. He grabbed it, cursing as he read the notification. What is it? Tarek demanded. Station security. They're demanding immediate inspection of this hangar. Someone must have reported. Unusual activity. Kai looked up at the massive wolf. You're not exactly inconspicuous. Then we must leave, Tarek stated simply. We? There's no we. I can't just. You purchased me. Tarek interrupted, a hint of dark humor in his mental voice. That makes you responsible for me according to your own laws. Kai ran a hand over his face. You're not property. You just said so yourself. Indeed, but they don't know that. Tarek moved closer, lowering his head to Kai's level. I require assistance to locate information about Valorian's fate and the current status of the Mirith Vanguard. You require a means to escape your financial troubles. I propose an arrangement. The hangar's external door began to flash red. Security override in progress. What kind of arrangement? Kai asked, eyeing the door. I will serve as your ship, temporarily. My alternate form is fully capable of interstellar travel. In return, you will help me discover what happened to my people. Kai's mind raced. Leave with a potentially dangerous alien entity or stay and face arrest for harboring unauthorized extraterrestrial technology. The decision wasn't as difficult as it should have been. Fine. Deal. How do we? Before he could finish, Tarek's form began to shift again, rearranging into a sleek, compact vessel with just enough room for a pilot. A hatch opened in what was now the craft's side. Get in, Tarek's voice commanded in his mind. Quickly. Kai grabbed his toolkit and datapad, diving into the opening just as the hangar door began to slide upward. Inside was a small, surprisingly comfortable cockpit that seemed to be generating itself from the surrounding material even as he watched. This is impossible, Kai whispered, settling into what appeared to be a pilot's seat. Biological and mechanical integration at this level is standard for royal guardians. Tarek finished for him. Now be silent. I must concentrate to bypass their security measures. The interior sealed itself around Kai. Through a view screen that materialized before him, he watched as station security officers stormed into the now empty hangar, weapons drawn. Hold tight, Tarek's voice warned. Emergency launch protocols are uncomfortable for organics. Before Kai could ask what that meant, the ship, Tarek, shot upward, smashing through the hangar ceiling as if it were paper. Alarms wailed throughout the station as they burst into open space, accelerating at a rate that should have crushed Kai into paste. Somehow, though, He felt only moderate pressure. Inertial compensation, Tarek explained, sensing his confusion. Though I cannot eliminate all effects. As the station rapidly shrank behind them, replaced by the vast emptiness of space dotted with distant stars, Kai finally allowed himself to breathe. "What have I gotten myself into?" he asked, not really expecting an answer. "A war, mechanic," Tarek replied grimly. "One that has apparently been raging without me for 3 cycles, and now you are part of it too." Kai leaned back in the living seat, watching as unfamiliar star patterns streaked past at impossible speeds. He'd wanted a ship. Instead, he'd gotten a grumpy alien wolf with a mysterious past and a war to fight. Just another day in the life of the galaxy's most unfortunate mechanic. Partners in survival. 6 standard weeks had passed since their hasty departure from Outpost Epsilon. Kai sat cross-legged on the floor of a derelict mining facility on Praxis Vivae, a forgotten rock in an unremarkable system far from established trade routes. The perfect hiding place for a man on the run with an alien war machine. "You're connecting it backward," Tarek's voice echoed in his mind as Kai attempted to integrate a salvaged power cell into what appeared to be an ancient communications array. "I know what I'm doing," Kai muttered, though he immediately flipped the connection. The wolf's mechanical knowledge was frustratingly superior to his own, though he'd never admit it aloud. Tarek lay curled in his wolf form nearby, silver eyes tracking Kai's every move. Over the weeks, they'd established an uneasy routine. During travel, Tarek would transform into his ship configuration, with Kai safely ensconced within. When they needed to stop for supplies or information, they'd find isolated locations where Tarek could resume his preferred form without detection. "There," Kai said triumphantly as the communications array hummed to life. "Now we can intercept transmissions from the central systems without announcing our presence." Tarek rose and padded closer, his metal claws clicking against the facility's cracked floor. "Your species' technology is primitive, but your adaptability is impressive." From Tarek, this qualified as effusive praise. Kai grinned despite himself. "Thanks, I think. Now let's see what the universe has been saying while we've been playing hermits." Hours of scanning through intercepted transmissions yielded little of value until a heavily encrypted channel caught Tarek's attention. The wolf's eyes narrowed, and he let out a low rumble. "That encryption pattern, it belongs to the Mirith Vanguard." Kai's fingers flew across the makeshift interface. "Can you break it?" "I am the encryption," Tarek replied with what might have been smugness. A moment later, the scrambled data resolved into coherent text, a message sent between 2 unknown parties. "Asset T7 remains unrecovered. Increase bounty to 50,000 credits. Priority Alpha. Recovery must be intact." Kai frowned. "T7, is that you?" "Tarek, 7th of the Royal Guard," the wolf confirmed grimly. "They are hunting me." "But who? Who even knows you exist besides me, and whoever sold you at auction?" Tarek paced the limited space, his massive form barely fitting between the dilapidated equipment. The betrayal was orchestrated from within. High command must have been compromised. He stopped suddenly, turning to Kai. "We need to search for records of the battle where I was separated from Valorian." Another hour of searching yielded fragmentary reports of a skirmish 3 years earlier in the Deneral sector. Most details were redacted or classified, but one fact stood out. The Myrith forces had been ambushed by their supposed allies, the Keldaran Federation. "The Keldarans?" Kai asked, perplexed. "They've been humanity's primary trading partners for decades. They're supposed to be peaceful." "A convenient facade," Tarek growled. "They have coveted Myrith technology for generations. Our biomechanical integration capabilities, in particular." A new transmission suddenly cut through their intercept feed. A general alert to all systems in the sector. "Attention all security forces. Be on alert for stolen experimental technology. Human male, approximately 30 standard years, traveling in unregistered vessel of unknown configuration. Subject is Kai Reeves, wanted for theft of classified military assets, reward for information leading to recovery. Kai stared at the screen in disbelief. They're using legal channels to hunt us now. How did they even get my name? Your auction registration, Tarek said grimly. We must move. Now. As if on cue, proximity alarms blared from the cobbled-together sensor array. 3 vessels were approaching the abandoned facility. How did they find us so quickly? Kai scrambled to his feet. The communication intercept, Tarek replied, already beginning his transformation. They must have been monitoring for access attempts to the encrypted channels. Kai hurriedly gathered his essential tools as Tarek completed his shift to vessel form. Just as the hatch opened to admit him, the facility's main door exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped 3 armored figures, 2 humans and a Keldaran, their weapons aimed directly at them. Step away from the asset, Reeves, the lead human called. This doesn't have to get messy. Kai hesitated, halfway into Tarek's interior. What do you want with him? Him. The Keldaran laughed, a clicking sound. It's a weapon, human. Property of the Keldaran Military Research Division. I belong to no one. Tarek's voice boomed, not just in Kai's mind, but audibly throughout the chamber. The hunters stumbled back in surprise as Tarek suddenly reversed his transformation, expanding back into wolf form with Kai now perched precariously on his back. Hold on, Tarek commanded mentally to Kai, who barely had time to grip the ridges of Tarek's armor before the wolf launched himself at their attackers. What followed was chaos. Tarek moved with impossible speed and precision, his armored body deflecting weapons fire as his jaws and claws tore through the hunter's defenses. Kai clung desperately to Tarek's back, ducking energy blasts that scorched the walls around them. The lead human aimed a specialized weapon at Tarek, some kind of energy disruptor. Without thinking, Kai released his grip with one hand and flung his heaviest wrench. It struck the hunter's arm, sending the shot wide. The momentary distraction was enough. Tarek lunged forward, clamping massive jaws around the weapon. With a sickening crunch, both the device and the arm holding it were crushed. Seconds later, all 3 hunters lay incapacitated. Tarek stood in the center of the room, his silver eyes blazing, armor plates shifting restlessly. Are you injured? He asked Kai, who had slid from his back during the final attack. Kai checked himself over. Just bruises. You? Functional, Tarek replied, though Kai noticed a scorched patch on his flank where one shot had connected. We need to treat that, Kai insisted, reaching for his kit. Later, their vessel will have useful information. The hunter's ship yielded a treasure trove of intelligence. The Keldarans had indeed betrayed the Myrith Vanguard 3 years earlier, staging an ambush to capture their biomechanical technology, specifically the Royal Guardians. Tarek was one of the few who had escaped, though in critical condition. Commander Valorian had not been so fortunate. His life pod had been recovered by Keldaran forces shortly after the battle. He might still be alive, Kai suggested cautiously. If they wanted your technology so badly, they might have kept him for information. Tarek stood motionless, processing. Perhaps, but we face a more immediate concern. He nodded toward a secure file they'd accessed. The Keldarans have contracted with human military forces to recover me. Your species has betrayed you as well. Kai laughed bitterly. Wouldn't be the first time corporations sold out to alien interests. He turned to face Tarek directly. So what now? I help you find Valorian. Then we go our separate ways. Tarek regarded him silently for a long moment. When we first met, I called you primitive. I was incorrect in my assessment. Was that an apology? Kai raised an eyebrow. An observation, Tarek countered. You fought for me today. No Myrith would expect that of a lesser. He stopped himself. Of an ally not bound by oath. Yeah, well, Kai shrugged uncomfortably. Didn't seem right to let them take you. They called you a weapon, but you're a person, or whatever the equivalent is for your kind. Sentient, Tarek supplied. though most species would not recognize us as such. Kai nodded toward the hunter ship. We could part ways now. Take this ship. It's got clearance codes that would get you past most security checkpoints. Go find Valorian. And you. I'd take my chances. Might head to the outer rim. Start over. Tarek's armor plates shifted in what Kai had come to recognize as contemplation. The Royal Guardians have a tradition, he finally said. When a bonded partner is lost, we may choose a new bond, if we find one worthy. Kai blinked. Are you saying? You are reckless, stubborn, and your maintenance protocols are substandard, Tarek stated bluntly. Thanks. But the wolf continued, you possess courage and honor that would be respected even among the Myrith elite. I propose a formal partnership. I will continue to provide transportation and protection. You will assist in my maintenance and in locating Valorian or confirming his fate. Kai considered the offer. Permanent alliance with an alien war machine wanted by multiple governments. It was possibly the most dangerous path he could choose. It was also, without question, the most interesting. Partners, Kai agreed, extending his hand before remembering that Tarek probably didn't understand the gesture. To his surprise, Tarek extended one massive paw, carefully positioning it so Kai could grasp one metal claw in a makeshift handshake. Partners, Tarek confirmed, the word resonating in Kai's mind with unexpected warmth. Now let us depart before reinforcements arrive. I believe the human expression is, we have work to do. Kai grinned as they prepared to leave in their newly acquired vessel, a broke mechanic and a grumpy alien wolf against corrupt governments and interstellar conspiracies. The odds were terrible. But for the first time in years, Kai felt like he was exactly where he belonged.